For most of my younger years, my entire sense of self was entirely propped up by validation that was outside of me. The more money I made, the happier I felt about who I was. The more friends that I had, the more I felt like I was a worthy person. The more attention I got, the more approval I got, the more success I achieved, the more muscle I built, the more love I felt, the more happiness I had. I thought that all of these things defined me. But the truth is that I wasn't doing these things for me. I was doing these because in here I felt empty. I felt like there were gaps that I had to fill. And out there, I felt like there were all the puzzle pieces that would fill in those gaps. This is what it looks like to be externally validated and to have your entire sense of self be built off of external validation. But this is also why you struggle to be by yourself. It's why you feel worse about yourself every time you open social media. Because guess what? Someone always has more money, more friends, more attention, more approval, more success, more muscle, a better relationship, and more happiness, at least in comparison to how you're seeing your life right now. You're essentially placing all of these things up on a pedestal. And as a result of placing them on that pedestal, you are depressing your view of yourself and your current life. And this is actually what makes people extremely needy. Because again, they are fully dependent on people and things outside of themselves to bring them a sense of contentment and presence and joy and any kind of happiness or worth within themselves. This is, of course, as you may already have guessed, a losing strategy because, again, no amount of external anything will ever fill the gaps within yourself. See, what you need to learn to do as a man is you need to learn how to validate yourself and how to meet your own needs external to anyone else's approval. You need to learn how to meet your needs and pour into your own cup, again, without anyone else even knowing about it or having any influence on it, because this is really the only strategy that allows you to become someone who has a genuine sense of worth and respect in themselves. Because do you really think that you're going to like who you are if everything about life that brings you a sense of fulfillment or completeness is outside of yourself? Of course not, right? You have to learn how to meet your own needs. And this is going to directly benefit every single area of your life. It's going to benefit your relationship because you aren't dependent on your partner to make you happy, to make you feel whole, to meet your needs, because you can meet them yourself. You don't need someone's approval to help you feel like you are good enough because you just feel good enough and you know that you can self validate your own sense of identity. This is the only way that you can create a true sense of freedom and genuine love for your life right now. Because if people judge you, if you lose friends, if your girlfriend breaks your heart, if you lose money, if your health decays and you lose a lot of muscle, then you're still going to be held up by this sense of, I'm okay because I have myself and I know how to meet my own needs without depending on these things. A story for me. In 2020, I lost pretty much everything, at least as I felt it. My relationship was struggling because I didn't feel whole in myself. I got really sick and lost like 12 or 13 kilos in a month. My business was completely collapsing. I was losing money. I lost a lot of friends. I lost my family. I stopped posting on social media because of how miserable I felt. So I lost any kind of external validation or approval that I was getting. And as a result, I completely collapsed. And that's because I lost myself. I forgot who I was without all these other things. The truth is that we all, as individuals, have inherent value and worth, and we have to find that in ourselves before we can ever expect anyone else to see that. But the problem is that most people live their entire lives trying to pursue things that will get the approval of others because they believe that only once I can do that will I be able to feel that sense of fullness in myself. But that's just backwards. You have to find that fullness in yourself. And only once you found that fullness in yourself can you actively pursue all these things from a place of genuine excitement and care and not from a place of lack, scarcity, and fear of loss or fear of inadequacy or fear of whatever that may mean about you as a person and as an individual. So go to the gym for you, not to build muscle to show other people about how much muscle you've built or to show other people how much muscle you've built, but rather to prove to yourself that you are capable of doing hard things, that you are capable of being a disciplined person, that you are capable of doing things that most people don't want to do. You'll also find that your friend groups improve because you won't keep people around you who are inauthentic or misaligned with your own values, because when you feel complete in yourself, you don't run over to people who are fake or people who don't really love you or toxic or manipulative people, because again, you don't tolerate bullshit when you feel like your life is whole as it is right now, external of anyone else or anything else. And best of all, this changes how you show up because you're no longer relying on external motivation, you are relying on intrinsic motivation. And intrinsic motivation is limitless, because think about it like this. If you're trying to pursue some goal, there are a lot of steps you have to take in order to achieve that goal. And if you're only relying on external validation, then guess what? All of the happiness and all of the fulfillment and reward that you get from that only exists in the final destination, at the outcome itself. Whereas if you can internally motivate yourself, you can feel fulfilled every time you take an action towards that goal, because you're checking off a box to say, I am doing the things that I promised myself I would. I'm taking actions that are reaffirming to me the type of person that I am, the type of person who does hard things, who respects himself, who is disciplined, who is capable, and who is consistent in pursuing what he wants for himself. Not because of what it means to other people or how that relates back to you, but rather for the process itself. This is how you fall in love with the process. The problem with relying on external validation is that, sure, you might take some actions because, again, you don't want to deal with the pain, the judgment, or the failure that you may get if you don't achieve that, or the lack of attention or the invalidation or whatever it may be, right, from all these external sources. And so as a result, a lot of people just give up when they're halfway because they haven't felt any sense of reward in the pursuit. They only outlay and outsource all of that reward off into the distant future, which is, again, somewhere arbitrarily far off that they really can't comprehend as to where that is. And so they give up because the fuel source runs out. That pain and the fear that they're running from can only keep them going for so long. But again, when you can find that internal and intrinsic motivation based on you meeting your own needs and doing it for yourself to become the best person you can be, then again, you're rewarding yourself and finding some sense of fulfillment and joy and reward in general throughout every step in that entire process. So that is pretty much it. If you want to live a fulfilled life and feel truly whole without the reliance on other people, and if you truly want to enjoy the process of pursuing goals and living your life without feeling like the things that will complete you are outside of yourself, then this is the way to do it. You start validating yourself internally and you disconnect from the need for external validation. So that was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll leave a link down below to my Instagram if you like short form content just like this. And also if you want to join Better Men Academy and get my help one-on-one. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.